8 days ago, last Sunday, you saw a different team play against Minnesota. I thought, for 2 of the games on the road, we played really, really good basketball. And then Friday in Vegas and today, that was not good basketball in any shape or form. And it's embarrassing. But we've got a chance to regroup, get some days now, and maybe practice this week, and see if we can get ourselves going. Connecticut's playing the best basketball of anybody in the league, and we knew that coming in. We made some mistakes early. Part of it's on me, trying to play them a certain way, but they made every shot and made us pay for it in the first quarter. And we dug ourselves a hole, and yet, for a bit of time in the second quarter, we played really good basketball. Got it to 4, and then they go on a 12-2 run to end the half, and that's just not the way to play. So I'm struggling to find, not the right combination of people to score and defend, to do both ends of the floor, and it's a struggle right now.
Coach, you talked about how you like to play with those kind of smaller lineups and have the versatility. When they've got Umke and Jones on the floor at the same time, and Thomas is shooting like she is, how tough it is to not have someone like Elena who can take one of those girls away?
Well, it makes a big difference when you're missing, your best player who, is an MVP type player. That hurts us. But that can't be the only reason we played like we did. That's every team goes through that, and we proved this past week. I mean, she didn't play the second half of the Minnesota game. She didn't play in Seattle and Phoenix, and we played great basketball. Something was missing today.
Could it be fatigue, Coach?
Yeah, it can be, but everybody's going to have stretches like this. You have to be mentally strong enough to fight through it, and we didn't fight through it today.
What do you have a timeline or any update on Elena?
I don't have a timeline other than maybe a week to 10 days.
Okay.
I don't think she'll play Thursday. She could be ready by the time we play the following week.
Okay.
In terms of the offense you mentioned, other than kind of that spot in the second quarter, it looked like it was hard to get into a rhythm. What did you see on that? Was it?
I'm going to go back and watch the film. Well, part of it's them making shots. We're taking the ball out of the net. Part of it is, we had some turnovers. I mean, to start the game, we turned it over twice. We only had 1 shot in the first 3 possessions, and it was a bad shot. So that's not a good way. It's not a good recipe for starting. They're making layups and threes, and we're missing the same shots. It's a game where you only count it when it goes through the basket. And got to do that a little bit more than 36% wise.
How much harder is it to solve those kind of offensive problems when Christie's shots aren't falling in particular?
It's harder. Yep. I mean, last week she had big games. I mean, in the Minnesota game and in the Phoenix game, she made great plays, and she struggled today. So, all right, they're all yours.
5-0 start to this year. What's your initial thoughts on you guys' record?
Yeah, exciting start for us. Proud of them. We talked about how important May was. So when we took care of business in that 3-game homestand, now we needed to translate it on the road. And all we've been talking about is toughness on the road. Obviously, without Adeladon, their 4th game in 6 days, a little luck plays into this. And they lost their legs. They're a terrific shooting team and only went 3 for 21. Hopefully, we did a little bit something to do with that. But again, caught them on a night, 4th game in 6 days. So that was very, very helpful. But kept them off the foul line. Didn't do a bad job defending them at the arc. And so a huge road win against a really, really good team.
What
were the first things you really wanted to nip in the bud to kind of get the game rolling for you guys?
Yeah, we wanted to play with tempo. Obviously, we're on the road too, but we kept reminding them, and this is their 4th game in 6 days, are they going to hit the wall? At the same time, we tried to stick to our game plan and make some of their great players play to some of their weaknesses. And again, they missed some shots, but hopefully we had something to do with some of those. I thought our defense really came to play. We didn't back down. They're a tough team, and we didn't back down to the Currys and the Thomases and the TRPs of the world. We competed with them, and that's important because they can. They're tough. They can really bully you.
There were a couple stretches in that game where they seemed to, you talk about the legs, but they seemed to gain some traction. on the leads that you guys have, but you always seem to respond. Just what would you speak to that? Is that just some of the...
Yeah, and again, every game in the WNBA, there's runs. How you answer those runs, how you try to stop them is really, really important in this league. Every team's going to have runs. Teams are too talented, and we got off to a good start. We got the tempo where we wanted in the first quarter. I thought they dominated the second quarter, and we made a late run that gave us momentum going into overtime, or going into halftime. That run at the end of the second quarter was big for us, translated into a dominating third quarter, and the game was decided in the third quarter. But when you look back at it, it was the last few minutes of the second quarter, a quarter which they dominated. We finished strong, and that gave us a lot of momentum.
Jasmine finished with 25 points. Can you talk about her today?
Yeah, huge tonight. Obviously, I didn't think we were getting the points in the paint. We have dominated teams with points in the paint that comes in a variety of ways, from transition to drives, but also post. And they did such a good job. We only had 10 points in the paint at halftime. But the reason we were still winning was Jasmine's play. She made a lot of outside jumpers. She spaced the floor. She got us playing the tempo. Obviously, she was the difference in the game tonight.
Wendell is a very high IQ basketball player.
Lynn Carter, NBA scouts.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another week, another edition of The Focus TV. We have Miss Octavia Wyatt, we got Cardell Dudley, Wilson Tarpick Jr. We got a lot to discuss tonight as we started the show with two post-game videos, interviews, if you will, with the respective coaches from the last Mystics game. You had Coach Mike Zabot, and you also had Coach Kurt Miller. Things didn't go well for the Mystics in that game. It just wasn't a good outing against what's pretty much the best team in the East right now. It's not the end of the world by any means, but that's how it started. The Mystics have definitely fizzled off. There's been some absences that have played a role in that, obviously. That being said, they're not like a real big on excuses, and they don't have a lot of time to get over it. They got the Reign of Champs coming on Thursday, and it was a historically bad day for the Minnesota Lynx, and they don't care what's going on with Washington. They're looking to try to get themselves right. So it's a big opportunity to kind of pick yourself off the mat, get off the slide, and get this thing headed back in the right direction. So Cardell, just your thoughts coming off Sunday's game.
Other than they just got to get back more consistent on defense. One thing I'm noticing, I kind of dug it up. In their 3 losses, they're allowing teams to average 84.6 points a game. And in their wins, they're only allowing 80. It may not seem a lot, but it is a lot. Now in the wins, the Mystics are averaging 88 points. In the losses, they're only averaging 71. So that tells you that when they don't play defense, they allow that to dictate their offense, and they just go through spurts where they just don't score. They turning the ball over. They get frustrated. And one thing that Tabal said after Sunday's game was he's trying to find the right mix of players that want to play both ends. Yeah. Right now, you just don't know. Certain players in a certain lineup might just be offensive minded. Other players might be defensive minded. There might be a couple players that's both. And injuries, obviously, but you can't use that as an excuse because a lot of players are banged up. A lot of players just getting their players back. I mean, a lot of teams are just getting their players back from overseas. So, I think they just got to get back in the gym and get refocused on what brought them success when they started the season 4-0.
Yeah, I love that you brought up the differences, especially with the numbers on the defensive end. When they've started games with force on the end of the floor, they're a totally different team. And it was quite a big margin. When you talk about in their wins, they're averaging over 80 points, well over 80, and their losses struggling to get 70. What that tells you is they really feed off the stops they get defensively.
Yeah, they gotta
This
get out
is a team that likes to
transition.
get out and run, and sometimes some of their threes come in their flow, their transition threes. They come off, sometimes off secondary breaks, but it primarily stops with them getting stops and getting out, being able to use the athleticism that they have. And this hasn't been the only time the Mystics coach has talked about that starting lineup. He said a couple games prior to that first 10 games of the season, you're kind of trying to figure out what you have in terms of who's going to be that 5. And I'm sure between you and I personally, we probably have an idea of who's going to make their way into that group going forward.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see when that comes into fruition. And the biggest thing is, if you know that you have to play with that type of force each game, consistency, just being mature enough to start each game that strong on the end of the floor.
And some of the players have to get in the gym and try to improve and change their game, because like Connecticut, you could just see the difference from when they started. Certain teams are scouting, and they scouting well how to deal with certain players. And one is Chrissy Tolliver. She started the season out hot, just torching everybody. And on Sunday, I noticed when she would drive to try to get to the lane or try to maybe get a jumper off, the big would hedge. Now, normally a big would hedge just to try to delay to let that man catch up, but they were hedging and trapping her.
Yeah.
So she had no choice but to get a ball. They're like, you're not gonna be somebody else gonna have to make jumpers and make shots, and nobody was able to. Or they would just pressure her with a great defensive player and make her turn the ball over. So they're attacking her to kind of, in a sense, cut the head off the snake, and that messes up their offensive flow. Now when Natasha got in, but she been out. She got to get her rhythm back. Now when she get her rhythm back, that might change, and that won't you won't be able to do that no more. But on Sunday, that was clearly what it was, and it affected their offensive flow. They got out of whack, and Connecticut jumped on them, and on the other end, they got to do a better job stopping point guards. Jasmine Thomas, almost having 20 in the first half was ridiculous.
Super comfortable the whole game. And the other thing that bothered me a bit was Courtney Williams. 9 rebounds. She was all over the glass. It was only 2 or 3 offensive rebounds, but she's 5'8", flying and crashing on both ends. And it felt like they really struggled to get a body on her, and that gives life to a team. You talk about with your big coming up that high to hedge. That guard's making up for the fact that the big's not in the paint. She had 10 boards.
And I like that you brought that up, because one thing that you shouldn't have to teach is intensity. And that's something that the Mystics had when they were winning.
Yeah.
They didn't have that Sunday. Not all game. It was little baby spurts, but not like the Suns. The Suns brought it from jump, and they were relentless. Like, you could tell what their mind is on. It's championship or bust to them. And it don't help that 1 through 11, 12, they're loaded. They're young, they're loaded, they have veteran leadership, they have versatility, they have everything you need. And they're going to be a problem, so the Mystics have to get together. Obviously, people say, we can't wait for Deladon, but Deladon, they were winning with Deladon being cold at the beginning of the season, so that's not really...
The stuff that we're bringing up still is relevant, whether she's on the floor or not. Obviously, what helps, talking about when they're trapping Christie, it's a little bit harder for that big to leave Elena to come hedge.
Right.
That's a little bit different, but in a broader sense of things, what we're saying is still relevant, even when they're healthy. And the one thing I want to take it from what Carmella said, it's obviously that Connecticut sees Washington as a possible obstacle later down the line, because it's obviously he knew they were shorthanded, but no one asked him that question. He said this on his own, talking about maybe dead legs and things of that nature. They identified,
road trip,
identify, and that to me is just a sign of respect, because no one asked him a specific question about the state of Washington. That's what he started his post-game comments.
You see, come on. They watch the league too. They're fans. They they're in the business. They trying to win, so they got to keep up with what's going on. They saw the hot start they got, and they did they saw how they were smacking teams, and not just the Lynx. They got the Mercury up out of there in their building, so it's like, whoa. Yeah, in their building, so it's like, man, so we got to deal with them. So now they getting a different type of attention. Now the Mystics have to adjust. That's just part of the growing pains, but as they get their, lineup, there's rumors that Deladon might be back Thursday. They got the champs coming back in. They got the Lynx coming in Thursday. So as they get their lineup back in, they should be able to get their flow back.
Yeah. So again, it's not all doom and gloom here. And just before we close out the segment, again, when they were 4-0 that start, Coach dropped the gem at that moment, saying that these 4 are in the bank and it's going to help come later on. Right. So when you go through these slides, You can't take away those 4 wins through this last slide of 1-3.
But what did we talk about before the season even started? Trying to get home court.
Yep.
Especially with the playoffs being, it's not relegated to conference, it's the entire league. So you don't want to have to,
You don't want to go to Minnesota.
being first round. Nah,
LA.
forget Minnesota. You don't want to have to go to Seattle. Like if you got to go to Seattle all the way across the country and they got home court, man, that's hard to overcome.
It's one game, you don't get a second chance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's early. And one thing before we leave, the WNBA has changed their All-Star format, kind of mirroring the men's a little bit. And the only thing that's kind of some people talked about earlier is instead of like the typical 12 woman roster they have, it's 11 players for the All-Star team. But they're still trying to figure out, where the NBA may have dropped the ball to some people about not televising the draft. They're still trying to work through that. But it's going to be announced during a Mystics game, so we'll see how that works out and go from there. But we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, up next on our schedule, we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA Finals. With 2 games in, Game 3 is tomorrow, and you're watching the Focus TV. We'll be right back. All right, folks, welcome back. Quick break. We'd like to get right back into the thick of things. NBA Finals, the Golden State Warriors lead the Cleveland Cavaliers 2-0 at this point. Obviously, there's a lot, going on in, the world of sports talk and all that stuff of, the hot takes and things we could look at. But, we try to do things the way that we do them here, and we're going to do them just that way tonight. So looking at this series so far, we just want to go around the room and just talk about some trends or things that you've noticed as this goes on and what may need to change for either team. I'll tell you, we start with you, then Cardell, and then I'll chime in afterwards.
I think that one of the things that we talked about the last time was that Golden State was going to play how Golden State needs to play in order to win the game. And I feel like they've come out strong. You can tell that they have, thought about everything the whole season and put everything into perspective. I believe that, they're kind of clicking on all cylinders. That time off that Steph had, you can tell it really, although he was hurt, you could tell that it really helped him to have that rest as well, because you can see he's really fresh for these playoffs, these 2 games. Although Game 1 was very, exciting, for lack of a better term, or interesting. I expected Golden State to play the way they did. What I didn't expect is for, the Cavs to play as hard as they did in the first game. We all knew, like we said, LeBron has the capability of going off and carrying the entire team by himself to the finish line, which he almost did in Game 1. I feel like a lot of times when it comes down to the Cavs, it comes down to, basketball mentality, IQ sometimes. And I feel like sometimes they're not focused. I think they're so focused in on LeBron being LeBron that they sometimes forget that they have to help him. I think they sometimes forget that, he can do a lot, but he does still need them to do what they're supposed to do. I need you to make the right passes. I need you to make the open shots. I need you to stay engaged, and I need you to, not do dumb things and, get thrown out of games regardless if it was at the end of the game or not. But, so I just think they need to get their focus back together if they are going to pull this out. It's not like it's not like they're not capable of it, because we've seen it before, although it's been with a different roster. I'm excited to see how it's going to be switching back to Cleveland, though. Like you said, although they are Golden State, that travel time sometimes does catch up to people going cross country all the time. So I'm excited for the rest of the series to see how it's going to play out. But I'm still, I don't think it's going to be a sweep. People that are saying that, you guys are kind of crazy. If it happens, I will be surprised, really. I just don't think LeBron's going to go out like that. And yeah.
All right, Cardell.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a sweep either. I just feel like LeBron could get 1 game.
Mm-hmm.
If he
By himself.
I mean, if we don't, I don't think he's touching Mike, period. But if he don't, then that says a lot, even more about, what it really is. You know what I'm saying? He should be able to get 1 at home. To me, their dependency on LeBron, like you said, that's a good point. Their dependency on LeBron is due to, honestly, them not being prepared for life without LeBron as far as, being able to stand on their own. That's, I'm not calling out Tyler, don't call out, but that's coaching. And also that's part of LeBron's responsibility as the leader. Like, that's what you practice for. That's why, during the season you have games where you might force guys to be in a position where they have to step up. So when it comes time now, they're not in the dark, like, what should I do? He has the ball so much. A lot of the players are just basically relegated to just being shooters, where they had more in that game. We've seen it prior to coming to Cleveland. That's up to, the staff to try to maximize what they have. Since sometimes, and it's up to LeBron sometimes to be like, maybe I need to sacrifice a little more so these other players can flourish, which will make the team better all around. Because now I got to guard JR, I got to guard Korver, I got to guard George Hill, I got to guard Rodney Hood. Hoping they said he gonna play more minutes. I got to guard these guys. I have to respect them, and that's where, kind of where it becomes is easy. Just stand up to LeBron honestly, and then just contest. And if they miss, you're gonna deflate them, and that's what I'm saying. But really, for me, the difference is, the three ball. Right now, during the series, the Warriors shooting 38%, the Cavs are shooting 29%. You got Curry for the Warriors at 50% from three. Durant hasn't even really gotten off. He's shooting 30. Klay Thompson 44 and Draymond 28. So
finally,
yeah. So Draymond and KD haven't even got going from them deep range. That's why it's like if they get going, it's a wrap. And the reason why people are saying sweep, and I kind of get it, is because last year, even with Kyrie, it took them to have a historic shooting performance just to get one. So, it is what it is. But for the Cavs, you got Love. He's shooting 25% from three. J.R. Smith, he's actually shooting 30%, but from the rest of the field, he's shooting 26%. He's shooting better from three than the field. That's crazy. Jeff Green, he's shooting 12% from three. And Kyle Korver, who's supposed to be a sniper in his limited minutes, he's only shooting 25%. So that's that's basically been the difference. And then you got Curry and Klay locked in. I mean, and Durant, while he's not shooting good for three, he's shooting 50% from the field. He getting in the mid range and he's tearing them up. And Draymond doing what he do down there, averaging a triple double. And he's shooting 53%. It's just execution, man, and all around offensively, and they have no answer for that. The one thing I think that Cleveland did with Golden State in Game 1, they took the blueprint from the Rockets.
Yes.
They took a lot of their defensive schemes and being physical, and they got up in them, and that's what disrupted things until, obviously when George Hill missed the free throw and then JR dribbled the clock out, all that crazy stuff happened, and then that deflated them, and then the Warriors woke up. You see what I'm saying? And then I think that's when the Warriors like, I see how y'all gonna play us. All right, we gonna bring it to y'all like we did in Houston. And they basically had no answer. All they did was double LeBron. And I like how KD got on them, pressured them a lot, gave them different looks. And they really didn't have an answer for that, man. It's basically like somebody else gonna have to beat us. And another reason, to piggyback off what you said, another reason why stuff is so fresh, it's no Kyrie going at him, making him work.
That is a great point.
It's no Kyrie making him work.
It's just George Hill.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, he's like, man, I haven't seen this much. I haven't been this free. And think about the playoffs. He came back. He had to deal with Rondo and Drew Holiday. The last Harden and Paul. Now he like, oh man, this is a break. Like woo. And so he's going to work. That's why he's right now the Finals MVP. So, but I expect the Cavs to shoot better going home. But would they shoot better and shoot better enough? Is the question. I don't know. Because like I said, they still got two dogs that haven't even got going, and Iguodala's coming back. He may play. And then that will pretty much, kill all that, because that's another body to throw at LeBron. And then before you talk, some guy having on defense. You know what I'm saying? Like, all those guys are putting up points. And I'm looking at the leader for the Cavs, man. You guys set the tone. Because there's a lot of times where those other guys may not be shooting well, but they playing hard defense. That's how y'all even in the game, a lot of the game. And when somebody get loose, I'm seeing JaVale McGee wide open dunks. I'm like, who's on the help side that's supposed to come? And it's LeBron looking. You see what I'm saying? So he got to step up and lead from that aspect. It can't always just be offense. And I'm like, you got three dudes that are lethal. Get on one of them and try to take them out of the game. That may help, close the gap where those guys, it won't be so much pressure on those guys that have to shoot so well. you got to take that challenge on, man. Otherwise, whether they win one game, what difference does it make? Gentlemen sweep, it don't matter. So, it's responsibility all around.
Yeah, and I love that you brought up the Cavs defense. That's kind of like where my main issue is, period. So you talked about, that the Splash Brothers shoot well from three. Cavs ain't really get going yet. And that, considering all things considered, you're still down 2 games to none. The thing that bothers me the most in this, all right, so in game 1, Golden State hit 46 of 90 shots. Not bad. Shooting 50%, right? 13 of 36 for 3. For them, 41%, it's also not bad. What hurts, 33 of 54 from 2. This is what's killing Cleveland to me the most. Is everyone's worried about the 3, right? And as you should be, but you got to take something away. You're giving the world away inside the 2-point line. Sean Livingston, JaVale McGee, and David West in game 2 went 16 of 17. Right?
Wide open dunks.
Look, just to let that settle in, because
I was like, wait,
they're
what?
by themselves, right? And this is game 1. Game 2, the Warriors up the ante in this respect. Game 2, they shot 57% from the floor as a total, 41 from 3. 47 to 82 total from the floor. Again, 57% is really good. From 3, they were only 15 to 36. Again, that's still that's a respectable number. 32 of 46 from 2. 32 of 46 are point blank opportunities. And I'm counting Kevin Durant mid-range shots as point blank opportunities. Those are high percentage shots when he's shooting over Georgia.
And with ease.
And this is my thing is, and I love you brought up the 3 ball, and I think the Cavs are so worried about it. You gotta find, like you said, you have to offer some type of resistance somewhere, and it's literally nothing. And to piggyback off what you said again with the trying to take the Houston's blueprint, don't have the personnel to do as much switching, which means if you don't have the personnel, the onus falls on LeBron a little bit more. You're the only one of that group that has the ability to switch onto all of them. Whether you're going to stop them or not, it doesn't matter, but you have to at least lead and give the troops confidence. They see you step up into them the same way everybody killed KD in game 1, right? The difference, we saw Kevin on him, we saw Draymond, we saw other people, but they were in his pocket from the opening tip of the game to the end of the game, just letting him know they were there. And that's my biggest concern as it goes to Cleveland is if Golden State's able to enforce that same thing on the defensive end, none of this is going to matter.
And I love what you said, how they do. You see how, like, LeBron may lose trust in guys on the offensive end. Look at the game. They don't have trust in him on the defensive end.
No one.
Because, like, they scared. Like Kevin Love, he's in no man's land on stuff. And, like, if he felt like he had somebody behind him, he would just be pressuring him, just trying to contest the shot. If you get past me, I know I got help. He don't trust nobody behind him. Even Tristan, he's frustrated because he's getting destroyed on the boards.
I'm trying to say he's not. But,
he's getting destroyed. He's getting destroyed in his own games. JaVale McGee came in, impacted the game better than him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's been irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? And not to take a shot, I mean, obviously home life probably ain't the best right now, so that's affecting him too, but just being real. So, I mean, he's agitated and stuff like that, man. Look, trust got to be on that defensive man, because if I'm pressuring this guy, he get past me, or somebody set a screen, no one says anything, I'm caught up. And Steph and Clay and those guys don't need much. All they need is a little
sliver of daylight.
And it's the bombs that Steph was hitting, and they be, and like I said, this is without KD going off yet from deep. Without Draymond hitting shots. Draymond not even shoot. I think he had like 5 shot attempts last game. He just playing, playing D and rebounding. Because I got Steph, Clay, and no one's talking about Clay enough. Clay's on a mission. Clay not playing around. Like, they asked him today about, how you feel about the Cleveland, and you sent me the tweet, and he was like, man, hey, it's like a second home to me, man. I feel comfortable there. Like, come on, man. They not playing.
And this is what I was just saying about, I know everyone's like, oh, Cleveland, like game 3. I know Golden State's saying the right things about playing in Quicken Loans. They don't care. Okay?
They don't.
It don't matter where.
Let's keep this completely honest.
They're killers over there.
They've ended someone's season in that arena before. That's how they got their first one, right? Mm-hmm. Last year, ended at home. But last year, you also had that dagger happen in
KD and his face on that.
So no one's tripping off that. And that's my biggest thing is, I know I've been saying this all playoffs long. I still don't think and Draymond said this as well. Golden State, they still haven't put together a good four quarters.
No, they haven't.
And I hate to be that person. Y'all can call me whatever. They haven't put together good four quarters yet. This is just facts. They haven't. It's been spurts here, spurts here. My concern for Cleveland is the fact that there's no trust defensively against them. I just don't care what you do, because it's hard to go from not trusting anybody to all of a sudden, and all Golden State is doing is, I like that matchup. You go. I like this matchup. You go.
And Curry adjusted. He took Looney out. First game, Looney was in. He put JaVale McGee in, who's a shot blocker, got athleticism.
And running to the rim messed everything up.
But he's active.
Yep.
Because I saw him get on ISO LeBron, and LeBron didn't get past him. You see what I'm saying? That's what I mean. Like, whereas they was picking on Looney, he like, oh, we going to end all that.
And the other thing is you brought up, I think you brought up before the series started, Sean Livingston.
Key.
Sean Livingston coming in, and if you notice, all the slips to the rim, George Hill, I feel so, that's the only Cavaliers person I feel bad for.
Because he's competing.
Series. Like, he's trying. He's just at such a disadvantage everywhere he turns. Sometimes you get Draymond on you, then that's when Draymond's like, hey, maybe I should get a bucket now. He's going to, like you said, he's focused on everything else, but when I see George Hill, I'm about a bucket now.
Yeah, we're going to post you up.
And that's the crazy thing. They're just taking turns. And like you said, without Kyrie to even put some type of tax on Steph, you getting a fresh Steph on the offensive end. And the part I like is because of that trust, just the trust in the half court, you're losing track of him when he lets go of the ball. Mm-hmm. He doesn't become dangerous until he gives up the ball.
And they see that. And another thing that's going on is it's not – I keep going back to Clay because he's the one that like that 1-on-3 break when he put up from jumper.
I don't think people understand. Okay,
that was cold-blooded. That's like we don't respect y'all, we don't care. Like that's what I'm saying. Like
killer stuff. 1-on-3 fast break. It's technically in that situation. It's everything you're not supposed to do in basketball.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Technically, right?
Yeah.
But that's not how they play. They play how they play.
And another thing that's making the Warriors thrive is even better from Houston, where Houston kept putting that pressure on them, and they play ice the ball. They're playing within the team concept. They're moving the ball again, and that's what ball movement destroys defenses, because somebody's going to make a mistake. They're going to be sleeping. They're not going to be in correct position, and they're going to find a guy, and that's how you get burned. And then that's when, if you're not mentally strong enough as a team, that's when everything starts to break down. They start pointing fingers. No, you're supposed to be the leader. And then the Warriors thrive off that. They're like, then you got Draymond clapping like, yeah, like getting in your head and all that. And then that's all they need. And they waiting for you to be on the brink. And then that's when Stephen will come and hit those threes. And then look, all you want to do when you know when the game is over, just look at the opponent's body language when Stephen or Clay or KD are hitting those threes. Their bodies just go. You could just see it, and it's like, oh, they done.
Start like Donald starts to take their soul.
And that's what the Warriors are searching for.
Each time it drops, and that's my worry for Cleveland this game is, I know you're gonna come out and try to lay in that first big punch. I don't care what you do offensively. If you don't get stops, Lord, if they keep shooting like 90% from the two, eventually the three's going to even out to the clip that they hit them at. They're not hitting them at their clip yet.
Right.
So
because for the series so far, the Warriors have 59 assists. The Cavs only have 43. The Cavs are out rebounding the Warriors 95-79. That's the only thing they're winning at right now. So, it's like, man, what do you? They're gonna have to do something, and that's what I'm saying. They're gonna have to start on defense. Y'all gotta slow them down. That's the only way y'all have a chance, man. And I think in game one they kind of did that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But once they got deflated and everything, they went away from that. And once a couple, JaVale McGee got going, that's when the trust was gone. They just like, man, who's who and all that. And for those out there talking about, man, the refs cheating all that.
I knew that was going to come
The Warriors have 43 fouls called on them. The Cavs have 33. So the Warriors have more fouls called on them. So how are they cheating? Like, my thing is, the refs didn't help Steph and Clay hit all those threes to destroy them.
They didn't make your body language.
They didn't mess up their rotations.
And we didn't hear this a couple years ago when Draymond got suspended and all that stuff. Nope. We didn't hear none of that.
Nope.
Was no foul call when J.R. Smith, Zaza Pachulia, Klay Thompson in game one.
Look, man.
It was just take the ball out.
The refs are going to be the refs, both sides either way. There could be complaints either way. Point being, look at some of the numbers we've shared. The refs ain't telling you to let JaVale McGee frolic to the basket.
My man had sent like 5 straight possessions. So just 5 straight
like frolic through the paint.
He said frolic.
That's not what they're doing. Somebody challenge me. Go ahead. Find the definition of frolic. Tell me that's not what
his
it was
picture
doing.
gonna be right there.
I'm just saying.
Just a
But,
frolicking.
all right, we're about to head to break, but as always, we got a 9-4-50 breakdown. Cardell, let them know what they about to look at this week.
The snake screen step back jumper by Jamal. You know, we brought the snake screen before, so now he's going to add a different move where you can get a jumper off of it. As simple as that.
All right, we'll see you guys on the other side of the break. You're watching The Focus. Yeah. But we should have something. I know you had Kevin. I got Wendell Carter.
Okay. He going to the Wizards?
No, I just got bad people doing bad things, so he might be available. Look, I factor that into any draft, okay? People do dumb stuff. These are facts.
You gotta pull that Mike 4 down. Mike 4.
Oh, pull it down?
You gotta pull it fader down.
Welcome back. All right, so the draft series continue. We've been doing this fun thing, but before we get to that, Octavia, week 3 Pitts League recap. Let us know what's going on down in Largo.
I will. I definitely will. So, yes, like you said, it has been week 3 now. These are going to be the results of the games this past weekend. So you had Bird Gang versus the Hawks. Bird Gang ended up winning 71-44. You had Team Anonymous versus Black Lives Matter. I believe these are the girls.
These are the women's side.
Women's side. Can't see that close. Sorry. Team Anonymous 61, Black Lives Matter 45. Then you had the Vets versus the Maryland Jewels. The Vets ended up squeaking out a win, 50-48.
That was a good one, by the way. That was a good game.
I did see the recap online. Renee Strong defeated the Hawks 69-58. And then you had JNR's Mob, one of the powerhouses, of course, of the Pits, defeated Black Power 77-72. Game 6, we had VA Pride versus Sam's Baller, and VA Pride won 81-70. Core defeated No Losses Rich Grills 59-55. And Baseline defeated Young Kings 97-81. And to round it all off, team bottom of the 5 defeated NOTME Entertainment 66-40. Just to give a couple little recaps, week 3 leading scorers currently were, for the men's side, Darrell Armstrong, who plays for bottom of the 5th with 32 points. Devontae Thomas for No Losses Rich Grills, 29 points. Byron Jones, Baseline, 27 points. Rockley Vaughn, who plays for Sam's Ballers, 26 points. And there were 3 other players that were tied with 23 points. On the women's side, you had Danielle Prey for the Maryland Jews with 28 points.
Bucket.
Sounds like a walking bucket. AJ Johnson, Team Anonymous, had 20 points. Danae Hill of Renee Strong, 19 points. And I apologize in advance for mispronouncing your name. Tahane Malone plays for the Hawks, 18 points. And then there were 2 other players tied with 17 points. Standings as of now, Baseline team is 3-0, Core is 2-0, JNR's Mob is 1-0, No Losses Rich Girls is 1-1, Young Kings 1-1, bottom of the 5 1-1, Black Power 1-2, VA Pride 1-2, Sam's Ballers 0-2, and NOTEM Entertainment 0-2. On the women's side, Team Anonymous 3-0, Renee Strong 2-0, The Vets 2-0, Concrete Playground 1-0, Bird Gang 1-1. Maryland Jewels 0-2, Black Lives Matter 0-2, and Hawks 0-4. If you can get out to Largo next weekend, games are going to be same place, same time every week. Come check out the Pits League.
All right, so Octavia, great job.
Gracias.
Great job. It got to be nice before football season begins. Then it ends. All right, so Cardell, we've been doing this draft series thing, man.
And I have thoroughly enjoyed it because I learn a lot every time. I'm sitting here, I'm like...
Well, see, that's because you get to watch the screen, man. I never get to see anything. But that being said, local guy this week.
Yeah.
Again, you keep hitting on these local guys, man.
Hey man, they did well to combine, man.
A lot of talent out here.
Yeah, man. This week I'm staying with Maryland guard Kevin Horter, 6'6", 190, sophomore. When he declared, a lot of people was like, I had the eyebrows raised, like, you sure? Mm-hmm. But he went to the combine, did work, shot well. Defended well. He was in tip-top shape, and the NBA are high on him now. So now he moved from, like, man, I don't even know if you're going to get drafted, to now he's in first-round consideration, and that's exactly why, I felt like, we got to talk about him because he may very well stick with the Wizard with his ability to shoot the ball and his size. He averaged 14.8 points per game on 50% shooting from the field, 41% shooting from 3, 75% shooting from the line, 5 rebounds, 3.4 assists. At the combine, he measured, he was tested at a 38-inch vertical, and, and his wingspan was 6'7.5", which is not that great for a 6'6" guard. I mean, for folks out there who understand what that is, like for example, Aaron Holiday, who came to work out with the Wizards, he's 6 feet, and he has the exact same wingspan. Mm-hmm. So, his concerns were defensively, where he had the length to bother, guys his size or bigger, wing players, which is with all this switching and stuff like that, more than likely he will be on. So you got to look at that. My NBA comparison for him is Richard Hamilton. That's due to his ability to be able to shoot from anywhere on the floor, and he's great on the move. You know what I'm saying? He's very smart. If you sleep for 1 second, he could be at a standstill, and if you fall asleep for 1 second, he's gone to a spot where he can get his shot off, and he's more than likely going to make you pay because he's very efficient. He's a fairly good playmaker, which is why a lot of NBA teams are higher on him because of his versatility. He can play some point, shooting guard, and depending on if teams go small, he could play the three. Like, say they were playing the Warriors, they might have like Steph or, let's say Quinn, and he might be point guard. They might have Steph at the 2, then Clay, or Sean Livingston at the 3 or something like that. He can guard any of those 3. So that's what they love about him. He rebounds great for a guard, and as we say, he's a good athlete, like 38-inch vertical, which means if you sleep, he will put you in the basket, so to speak. Has a great feel for the game. Like I said, it's not just moving without the ball. It's also knowing how to set screens when he gets the ball, making a correct pass. It's where it might lead to the hockey assist to lead, for Maryland to score, and that's something that's underrated in basketball. And like I said, man, he's just a great shooter. The concerns are obviously defensively. Right. He's not the quickest or most explosive guy. Obviously, like I said, his length. You got to be able to guard on the NBA level. Otherwise, it's gonna be hard to keep you on the floor because teams will pick on you. And it's not like college. It's not like high school where they got to call a timeout. Be like, yo, attack him. Right. The players will know to attack you. Like they'll come down, and be like, oh. And you see it all the time, and you won't even know what's going on until they do got the ball, and like, oh shoot, and you got to adjust on the fly, and then the coach take you out. He's not an elite ball handler, I would love to see. Sometimes he relies too much on his jumper. He don't attack the basket enough, and with his shooting ability, he should be able to make teams pay at the free throw line. So that's something I'm sure he will adjust to at the pro game, and he can. He's very confident, so at times he can get a little too cute, and that leads to unforced turnovers. But like I said, he's smart. He ain't gonna go overboard with it. Was like, yo, what are you doing? He'll discipline himself and keep playing. I just see him kind of, being in that late tier first round area based off what he, did at the combine, and if he continues to impress in workouts. And I just feel like the, Wizards, especially with him being a home, area kid, they'll definitely take a strong look at him.
All right, so I'm going to continue with the theme of high IQ players that may have been overlooked a little bit. As funny as it sounds, because you went to Duke, I guess you shouldn't be overlooked, but I feel like because of the guy you paid next to, some people, box score watchers probably overlooked him a bit. Wendell Carter from Duke. The Wizards had a 15th pick, so I know some people are like, oh my God, Duke fans are like, he's a top 5 guy. Okay, well, things don't always work that way at all. Bad teams do bad things, good players slide. This is just what people do. We can go through history and talk about how good players end up in places they had no business being drafted to. All right, so 6'10", 260, 7'3" wingspan, averaged 13.5 points, 9.1 rebounds, 2.1 blocks at Duke, shot 56% from the floor, 41 from 3. More importantly, 73% from the line. The thing I like about him is kind of more towards this modern day 5. We see a lot of guys that are super stretchy that don't know what to do with their back to the basket to save their lives. So they can't take advantage of them situations at all. He's a bit of a throwback in that regard that he's comfortable in the post. Obviously, it remains to be seen how comfortable he'll be against NBA competition. But the fact that that's already a part of your game and ingrained in you is a positive, especially in this day and age, as bigs go. I feel like he has a high IQ. Sometimes we talk about bigs, have no idea what a double team looks like, how to feel for it, pass out of it. Seems like this kid understands. He has no issue passing out of a double team. Again, this is IQ stuff. This is things that jumped out to me a little bit. He can also stretch the floor a little bit. I know it said he shot 41 for 3. I don't expect him to shoot at that rate first couple years in the league, but just the fact that you can step out there at times to mix it up can help give your guards room to drive things of that nature. And I like the fact that he was able to still produce while not being a focal point at Duke, because you're a rookie. You're not going to be the focal point if you do end up in Washington. There's a pecking order. You're going to be asked to fit in and just contribute. And then I just like the versatility. And even on the defensive side of the floor, said two blocks a game or whatnot. He's not overly athletic, but he's not immobile. He can move. He's going to have problems on the next level at times with the freaky bigs. Like, there's just nothing you can do about guys. Some guys where, even if you boxed out, God gave them a gift where they can go climb a ladder that sometimes you can't climb. Cons, as I just said, not a great athlete, has to prove in defending screen roles, as you pointed out. We talk all the time like how heavy that is in NBA. He didn't do a good job of it at Duke. It's not to say that he can't do that. He can't perform that capacity, but that's something he's gonna have to work at. Something that it's gonna have to become a strength. I also like that he has a high IQ defensive where he can still make the right play in terms of making a rotation. It's not always about getting the block. And he's a solid rebounder. One thing he definitely needs to improve on, you can't foul at the rate that you did at Duke. You can't do that. You're not on the floor. You're not helping your team. So, just bottom line, I feel like it's a modern-day big, and that's something where the Wizards don't have that on their roster at this point at the center position. So it's something that could definitely help if, bad teams do bad things and he slides. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's just where I'm at with it. And Cardell, we got like maybe 4 or 5 minutes, man.
All right, I only got a few rapid-fire questions. New video from the Cavs, and it shows that J.R. Smith and LeBron were on the bench after the fiasco, with J.R. Smith, and LeBron asked Ty Lue, "Did we have a timeout?" Ty Lue like, "Yeah, we did," and then LeBron kind of loses it once he found that out. What were your thoughts once that video surfaced?
I think it kind of all plays into this whole they don't trust in each other thing anymore, because I feel like that possibly was a turning point for the overtime portion of the game, because you could tell that, like, to see your leader like that distraught in a situation where it's not that y'all lost at that point, it's just that you may have lost an opportunity to win the game at that point. I feel like that could be another dynamic with the team that's like, well, I mean, you already like hanging your head, throwing a temper tantrum in here, and we're trying to get ready for the next part of the game to try to still win. I think that could have been a possible turning point for it, because you see how flat they came out for the overtime and how ready to go Golden State came out, because like you said earlier, they saw that. They can smell that type of stuff. So they put the pedal to the metal and kept it moving. I also, the petty side of me found it hilarious. The fact that he, as a grown 33, 34-year-old man, had a baby temper tantrum on there. But at the same time is you can't be that mad at JR for not calling a timeout when you didn't call one either. If you guys are a team, everybody is supposed to know what's going on. And you being the leader of the team, you're supposed to know what's going on for yourself, and you're supposed to make your teammates aware of what's going on. So I feel like that was a fail as a whole team, and that it shouldn't be, of course, the whole JR thing was hilarious. I know you saw
Lord, the memes have been great on. Man,
when they show him run to the liquor store and get the Henny bottle, I passed out. Like, that was hilarious. And, I mean, it's just a tribute to all of them as a team, because anybody could have called timeout. The coach could have called timeout. You sitting here telling him that we got timeouts. Why you ain't call one? So, I mean, it just shows a whole debacle of the entire team. But to see him, like, pout, put his head down in between his knees, and everybody looking at him like, so what we going to do in overtime now? I just found it hilarious.
It is a microcosm of the differences between the two teams. Championship mentality, whatever happened. They would have shook it off like it happened. We ain't called a timeout. Let's get it together and go win the game. But they did the opposite, and you saw what happened. Yeah, so I mean that's all it was for me. It was real simple. Like you got him consoling him.
Like I said, at that time, that was just poor leadership on LeBron for that period. I'm not gonna call him a bad leader before these people come for me. No, just that. That was bad leadership.
Yeah,
you got to keep in mind, like, despite all that happened, George Hill missing the free throws, J.R. Smith, you went into overtime. And the thing they saying, man, they blaming it on him. But I'm like, they still had life in overtime. And I'm like, LeBron went 0 for 4 in overtime. Why didn't he step up and close the deal? You be like, look, he should be on the sideline like, oh, it's all good. Look, we got overtime. Forget all that. Let's go ahead and play. That would have
boost their morale, yeah.
They see him acting like they already deflated. And I felt like it was more on him being the guy, because you knew those guys are going to be finished because of the mistakes and going into overtime. So you should have been even more aggressive to make sure things go smooth and all that. So that was just poor leadership on his part for that period of time after a monster game. And that's why it's always the same. Larry Bird said it, and Michael Jordan said it's not how you play along the way, it's having something in you to finish. Because that's when it gets real. Everybody think the clutch bucket is the last bucket. No, it's that last few minutes where you got to keep making plays to win the game.
It could be a stop. It could be a rebound. It could be deflection.
All that stuff like that. So
one more question.
Kevin Durant, later this evening, he said in regards to him signing with the Warriors at the meeting with Steph, Clay, Draymond, and Andre Iguodala last offseason, a couple off seasons ago. He said at that time in my career, I didn't know how other people felt about my game. I knew I was pretty damn good, and I knew I worked extremely hard. But I needed that validation from my peers and teams and GMs, people that are really into the game, to really help me feel good about myself and help me feel confident and let me know that what I was doing was working. So when they all came and they all put stuff to the side to come to the meeting, I was like, man, this is amazing. Best team in the league. Some of the best players, most accomplished players want me on their team and want what I do. What I bring to the table is pretty cool, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm looking at this whole basketball thing from a kid's perspective. I'm still excited, I'm still learning. So to have that much love in the room for how I play basketball, that's cool. They'll get to know me as a person. I was confident with that. But the basketball side, I was like, man, this is pretty damn cool that people enjoy the way I play and want me to play with them. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's right on line of what I've thought for the last couple of years. Just hearing the talks around, the DMV with him being from him, I feel like Kevin always felt like he wasn't good enough. I felt like he always, like he said, he knew he was good, but he was still trying to get over that one hump. Like, his biggest thing was he always felt like he was never going to get to LeBron's level, or he felt like he would never be able to beat LeBron, with always losing to him and things like that. So I felt like exactly like he said, with them all coming together, like, hey, like, you're amazing, like, you're a great basketball player, you'll be a great asset to this team. It was like he said, he felt like he needed that validation, and I completely believe him. Like, I really do think that he really needed that. It's sad that he did need that because of who he is. Like, he's a great basketball player. Like, you can't take that away from him. But, you always got to remember, people are human. People have insecurities. People have flaws. People have things that they don't, think people like about them. So, I mean, it is what it is. I think that's exactly how he really felt at that time.
Cardell?
I just feel like, like you spoke on it, it's insecurities with him that obviously as he grow, he got to deal with, and everybody got their little issues. Mm-hmm. But one thing, man, he ain't got to listen to me, but me being a little bit older, one thing I would tell him and any other youngin, sometimes in this world, you got to learn to pat yourself on the back. You can't you can't look for validation from others. Look for validation from God. As long as you at peace, keep moving, man, because, I mean, you're not going to always get that, you know what I'm saying? And waiting on people to pat you on the back and give you validation, man, you'll be waiting forever.
Especially if it's not genuine.
Exactly, and he got it done, you know what I'm saying? Like, he got at LeBron, got the chip. People still crucify him. He can't even I see the IG post, he can't even post something without all these snake emojis and all this crazy stuff from losers who have no life, comment and all that stuff like that. Man, I just want him to get to a place where he at peace. He don't even look for that, man. Look, this is Kevin Durant. You either like it or you don't. The hell with it.
Yeah, I'm just, to piggyback on what y'all said, is not really I agree with both of you. Mm-hmm. Harley, I think they're human. It's shown that's a grown man's journey, trying to get to that place. Exactly. Like you said, I think he's getting to that place now. And like you said, maybe it's sad because people think, oh, you're an athlete, like nothing, you're still human. I mean, also it breeds to the type of people you have around you sometimes. Yeah. Like, I think now he's in a better place where those type of people let you know that type of stuff, and it's sad that maybe that wasn't the case. So, I know everyone gets off the competitive side, all that stuff. With KD, there's a human side to athletes that plays a role into, their performance and everything like that. And that's why I'm looking forward to, like, this stretch with Golden State, because I think the guy's getting to a place where he's comfortable. I still don't think he's all the way there, but he's growing and evolving. And I think when he gets to that place, I think there's going to be another part that manifests on the court too. Right. So looking forward to that. I want to thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. And real quick, shout out to Diana Taurasi. Just hit 8,000 points in the WNBA. Congrats. On that side of the things, we can say those words, go, and keep it moving. We'll see you guys next week.
Go Caps.